Hello and welcome, internet friends. Today I want to present to you my review of Doki Doki Literature Club Plus. Before we get in, a few disclaimers and a request. The request is that you head on down to the comments and tell me how you heard about this amazing game. The disclaimers are as follows. If you somehow know nothing about the game, but for some reason trust me, go, leave, buy the game, play it blind. You'll thank me later. For the rest of us, I want to let you know that I take spoilers very seriously. Stories are my love and my passion, and getting spoiled sucks. That's why I'm going to try to gate this video based on the level of spoilers that are necessary to discuss and critique certain things. Know that I will never mention endings in a review, so fear not on that score. For some games, KOTOR comes to mind, they have twists that are even more impactful than the ending. Spoiler tier 0. This is how DDLC starts. Doki Doki Literature Club starts out as a pretty standard visual novel. Visual novels are, you should know by now, pretty much JRPGs without the combat. They're dialogue boxes, you read them, and you occasionally respond to something. Think of it as a high-tech choose-your-own-adventure book for us older folks. You are a faceless protagonist that's on his way to school. Sayori, your childhood friend, catches up to you and insists on walking to school with you as you have many times before. It comes up that you're in the market for an after-school club. Sayori, it just so happens, is the vice president of the titular literature club. Through much guilt-tripping and cute anime girl begging, you get railroaded into meeting the club after school. The members of the club are Yuri, who's edgy and likes dark and deep literature, Natsuki, the cute, fluffy, pink-haired girl that likes anime and clothes, and finally the president, Monika. She doesn't really open up too much, but she looks like a main character from a Falcom game like Trails of Cold Steel. At the end of the first meeting, you get guilted into joining and tasked with writing a poem. Upon returning home, you learn that the writing is essentially done by picking words that little chibi representations of the club members will jump up to enthusiastically if they like. At this phase, you'll be forgiven if you thought yourself playing just your average slice-of-life dating sim visual novel. The next day doesn't do anything to challenge that. At first. Now we find ourselves at Tier 1. Spoilers that can be found by just reading tags on Steam. As we wait for those few that have no tolerance for spoilers to close the videos, I want to explain just what the Tier 1 section will contain. Unless you're a huge fan of cutesy visual novels with the worst luck or sadistic friends, you're probably considering purchasing Doki Doki Literature Club because of the twist. That twist, of course, being that Doki Doki Literature Club is actually a psychological horror game. I love Japanese horror. If I weren't such a smooth brain when it comes to puzzles, I'd probably be content to play Resident Evil on repeat. That said, DDLC didn't dive into the dark as quickly or as violently as I expected. The pacing is actually amazing. I still wish I could have somehow come in completely blind, but the pacing is so good I think the game used my expectations against me. Here's what I mean. As early as the second day, some of the characters get a little mean towards one another. I'm not talking forcing each other into some Saw-level blood-soaked obstacle course, but certainly cattier than you'd expect from a slice-of-life dating sim. I found myself wondering, is this it? Is it starting? But then the game pulls back. The girls apologize. Another example. One character has a kind of crappy home life. Now, I can't tell if this is meant to be abuse, to set up some dark serial killer backstory, or maybe just a little bit of culture shock. Maybe I'm playing the overly sensitive American here. Japan certainly is known for tougher parenting than us over here. Maybe that's just an extreme case of tough love. They don't really ease off that storyline, though. Other characters mention it. Is this the thing? One of my favorite things about Japanese horror is just how good it is at making the player or audience question what they just saw or heard. I used the chat history for the first time in my history with visual novels to confirm a character said the dark thing that I actually thought I read. The teasing of dark things continues until the main story has sort of a climax that is the festival where you can attract new literature club members. I love this game. This is where I feel maybe a lot more people need to part ways with us. I'll next be discussing themes that remind me of other game developers, and I feel tones discussed might be considered moderate spoilers. Now, if you all would be so kind as to like this video and maybe subscribe, because at this point I promise Halloween's right around the corner. I'll be making way more videos about this type of game. Tier 2. Comparisons and vague talk of plot points. I went into this expecting a bloody game bent on showing you pretty girls and massacring them to prove some sort of sick point. What I didn't expect was an honest and raw look at depression and self-harm. I feel like Doki Doki Literature Club manages to disturb while still respecting the core issues of peer pressure, mental illness, and bullying. I often felt like I was looking into the unfiltered nihilism of a game like Nier. There were good moments, sure, there were fun times, but I often would progress with a sense of dread and hopelessness forming that knot in the back of my throat. Tears that wouldn't quite fall would form in my eyes, and even when I saw a dark plot point coming, I felt guilty when it happened. The way the characters move on after a major moment as if nothing happened reminded me a lot of a Kojima game. When things started getting goofy, this further cemented the comparison in my mind. I said earlier that I liked this game, and now that I've looked a little deeper at it, I'm not sure if that's actually true. It's certainly an experience that I'll carry for the rest of my life, and who knows, maybe it has a lesson to teach there. Until next time, I've been Septimus with the Grim Alliance, and you have all been an amazing audience. Thank you.